Yeah. So I just worked out a little crochet hack. I googled it to see if anyone had done something, and either my Google foo wasn't working or I've just invented it. Basically, I'm working on this blanket for my friend, and it's double bed width, so it is huge. It's this wide, so like the length of my forearm. Like it's not very wide, and it's already really, really heavy. So I thought I'm going to switch from trying to do it entirely as one piece and make it into sections kind of this big, which I can then sew together at the end, because I don't mind sewing. Apparently some people really hate it. But I also don't want to have to try and count the right number of stitches or have to do anything weird at the end with like trying to add on little bits or cut off little bits or anything. So I had this idea a while ago, and I've just done a little test and it works. So what I've done is taken a piece of scrap yarn and just sewed it through. I'm just doing this little test bit, but I will do the whole length of it. So I've just sewn it through every stitch along the kind of edge chain. And then if I get my new colour of yarn, tie a slip knot to start it like normal, put that on the hook. Then I can go in, and I've got the same number of like wraps as I do stitches because I've done one through every stitch. And I can crochet into the bit of thread. Drop the crochet hooks I'm trying to demo. I swear I've had hands before. So I'm just going to do a single crochet. I need to tie down the ends or hold them down better, because they do come up if they're not like tied down at least a little bit. So I'm just crocheting into the thread as opposed to into the stitch below it. And with the exception of the first one, like it's a teeny bit fiddly, but it is pretty secure. With the exception of the first one, which is just completely unsecured. It pretty much feels like the chain, so you could just work this in the same way as you'd work another pattern, because this is just a one-to-one stitch into a stitch. There's no skipping stitches or anything like that. I think that would not work, but this one's just double and single crochets into the chain below it, or into the stitches below it. So I've then got my little row of stitches which correspond to the stitches underneath it, but is just in this little thread as opposed to being attached to this stitch. And the benefit of doing that is that then you can take this out, like my scrap yarn, which is connecting the main blanket to the piece I just did. And when you take it out, you end up with your little crocheted piece, which is exactly the right length. It's got exactly the right number of stitches as the piece that you like sewed into, but is detachable just by like taking out the bit of scrap yarn. And it looks totally normal. This is just my like row of single crochet, so there's no chain or anything underneath it. So yeah, this is not only perhaps like a new cast on where like you've already done all of the counting and this is just completely unaffected, like nothing's happened to it, but also perhaps like a way that you can create another separate piece without needing to create a separate foundation chain and without needing to count the number of stitches, because you just sew it through. So when I get to the end of this purple row, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to start my next section, and then I can make this blanket into sections. It's going to be like a weighted blanket because it's so chunky and heavy, so far from the snuggliness I thought I was gifting my friend, it might just be like a straight jacket to pin her to the bed, but I don't know, we'll burn that bridge when we get there. But yeah, I just thought this is kind of a helpful little hack for me, and also perhaps for some other crocheters who are in the situation where they don't want to count a chain, they just want to copy the length of something already existing. Cool. See you in the next video. And remember, you can always fit a lot of rubles in a dead rat.